What's up? What up, y'all? Football has without hesitation. Number 26. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. Number 26, baby. 26. So it's December 6th. MLS finals on Saturday. We got Seattle versus Toronto, and so with the season coming to an end there, and there's only been 2 teams left, and there's not really going on too much with the Quakes, you know, same old bullshit, no GM. So I decided let's learn a little about the 2 teams in the finals. You know, there's, like I said, Toronto and Seattle. So I did a little research, found out a little about these teams. Pretty cool. I mean, like I said, I do this podcast. It is Quakes podcast, but really I want to get people into the league. You know, just if you like soccer, if you don't like soccer, again, I think it's a fun league, and it's only getting better. And the final, it's going to be a good one this year, a good historic either way. If Toronto wins, they'll be the first Canadian team to ever win the MLS championship. And if Seattle wins, that'll be their first MLS championship ever. So, yeah, either way, it's going to be a historic game. It's 2 of the better teams in the league. Seattle has that whole, moving up the table all year. You know, they weren't always at the top all year, but Lodeiro came in and changed the whole game. So yeah, so let's talk about the Sounders. See that? See that right there? Yeah, I gotta move this one. You gotta move it closer. Look at that shit. That right there, drawn by me. As you can see there, at Baldini10 on Twitter. Direct message me. I'm available. You can commission me for any art. I didn't do that bird. Look at how good that bird is. I didn't do it, but I mean, you see my style there. It's about as large as you can do it. Don't ask me to do any murals. That might take me years. But yeah, look at that shit. That's fucking quality. If you're only listening to the audio. You could go on YouTube and look up Football Without Hesitation number 26 and see this fucking work of art. It's beautiful. It should be hanging in a museum. It's on a whiteboard, so it'll be gone soon, but should be in a museum. So anyway, Seattle Sounders. Let's get into this. Seattle Sounders came into the league in 2009. Was their first year in the league. They play at CenturyLink Field. Boom. Look at this. I got it friggin' on the tablet, son. So they play there. That's CenturyLink Field, and it's actually set up for a soccer game. CenturyLink Field is also the home of the Seahawks, so they can get like up to 68,000 or some shit in there. 69,000. They're averaging 42,000 this year. I think they did 44 the year before. So there's a lot of fucking people going to Sounders games. But yeah, and it was, as I was doing this research, I was, reading about the team and how they came across to play at that fucking stadium, and dude, it's fucking crazy. So I'll get into the history earlier, but the Sounders go back to '74. This more modern version came back more or less around '94, and so the Seattle Seahawks, the football team, they wanted out of the Kingdom. I think it was the Kingdom. They wanted out. They said, we can't make money in that stadium. It's too fucking old. The city said, no dice, there's no money. So the Seahawks I don't know who their current owner at the time was, but he said, "All right, fuck it, we're out. We're out. We're going to Los Angeles later." You know, at that then L.A. obviously has been desperate for a football team. Well, I mean, this was '97. So anyway, with the Seahawks I mean, it got to the point where they moved shit over, like so the equipment over down to LA. Like this shit was 12th hour, 12th hour, what the fuck, 11th hour. I don't know what the fuck the term is, but it was really fucking late in the process. So anyway, Paul Allen comes in. Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, dude's like seventh richest guy at the world at this time, and he comes in and he says, "Fuck that! I'll buy the team, and I'll help pay for a new stadium, but I need public funding. I need public funding, and I will pay for a statewide referendum, so a statewide tax, um, so we can get this public funding and get the stadium built. I'll pay for the vote. If the vote doesn't pass, I'm out. I'll give up my bid for the team. Then they'll go to Los Angeles." So, and this was really close. I mean, it was. I don't know if the public knew how much, but it ended up being $300 million. They capped it at $300 million, but $300 million in 1997 to build this new stadium, and then this is what the public portion was. So, um, so yeah. So obviously, it was really divided. Some people didn't want it, some people did, and so the Seahawks were concerned. How could we make this happen? In comes this guy who's a big soccer booster in Seattle and says, "Hey man, we got 30,000 just like amateur soccer players in this city. Like this could be a huge this could be what swings the vote." So the needless to say, the Seahawks were interested to the point where Paul Allen had the architects redo the design of the stadium, made the field dimensions a little bit different, made the viewing the seating different, so the view was better, and and then reached out to the soccer community and said, "Hey, this is also going to be designed for a professional soccer team." And at that point, the commissioner then, I believe it was commissioner or definitely some executive in MLS, he said, "Yes, MLS is coming to Seattle, and if you build a stadium, that'll pretty much seal the deal." It ended up taking 11 years, but ultimately it did happen. And then so the Sounders moved in to CenturyLink and moved up to MLS, and then since then they've just been fucking demolishing attendance records. They're always easily the highest attended team in the league again in 2015. What do I have here? In 2015, they averaged 44,000. In 2016, 42,600. So they average a lot of people. And in learning up about the stadium and all this stuff, so the way the deal worked out for the stadium, Paul Allen, the owner of the Seahawks, created an entity that became then the owner of CenturyLink Field, or that leased it. They leased it for 20 years, with an option for like 10 more years. And because of this, and they don't have and so Paul Allen, because of his stake in the Seahawks, also has stake in the Sounders. The Sounders don't pay any rent. Is what I'm trying to get. All that long-winded shit, just to fucking say they don't pay any fucking rent. The Sounders don't pay rent. For the 20 years that they can possibly play in the stadium, which why else? What the fuck wouldn't they? Part of the ownership owns the stadium, so they don't pay rent. The concessions, the ticket sales, they get so much. I mean, I'm sure there's always. I'm not saying, oh, they get 100% of it. Always, shit breaks down to all kinds of shit. But I mean, they're getting 43,000 people out there a game, and they get to keep all kinds of that money. That is insane. Such a sweet deal. Such a sweet deal. It's again, it's such a cool setup. I don't want to seem like I'm hating on it or anything, because it's just badass. I mean, it just again, everyone. I'm sure there's people that are complaining. I didn't go deep, but there's always going to be people that are upset. But it just looked like such a great deal, such a great fit. I mean, I know some people bitch on the artificial turf, but it seems like, that seems to be not that much of an issue anymore. But yeah, it was weird. It's one of those, I guess, symbiotic is the way to say it, man. Fucking symbiosis and shit. But that Sounders Seahawks relationship seems to be working out great. As a Quakes fan, again, I would love for the Quakes, beautiful fucking Quakes. I mean, the Via is gorgeous and all that. I'm sure it's smaller. I don't care about that. The size, I don't care. It's the atmosphere and the culture around the team that really, really is what draws me in. And yeah, so along both of those lines, in doing this research, there's this thing that Drew Carey, as I said earlier, Drew Carey is one of the owners. Drew Carey of fucking internet fame. Why didn't I even say that ownership group? Huh? Anyway, Drew Carey is one of the owners. I thought I mentioned it earlier, but no, Drew Carey is one of the owners. And when he came on, he created something called the Fan Council, and the Fan Council got together the supporters groups of the Seattle Sounders, which, I mean, they have some pretty big ones. Emerald City and Gorilla FC are the two big ones that everybody knows about. But so they created this group, this Fan Council, which is a direct connection that the fans have to the ownership group. This Fan Council gets to meet with the owners directly 3 to 4 times a year, directly with the fucking ownership group. They get to sit down and talk to them and see what they think, and pretty much express themselves to the owners, which is fucking awesome. Again, being a Quakes fan and going to Quakes games these last several years here, there always seems to be a friction with the front office and the supporters group, and don't get me wrong, it's always going to happen. It's just always going to happen. But this group that was created by the Sounders, I thought was so awesome. This Fan Council, so they get to sit down 3 to 4 times a year again with the front office. Imagine that. Imagine the fucking Ultras and Imperio Sísmico and the Fault Line all got to sit down 3 to 4 times a year with the ownership group, not just the general manager or the president or anything, with the ownership group, and got to really express themselves. That would be that's amazing, and I think, again, that's a really cool thing that the Sounders have. And another thing that's really, really interesting, every 4 years they get to have a vote whether they should keep or fire the general manager. That is fucking huge. That is insane. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean that's not probably the final vote, but if that's a unanimous vote and that's a loud voice that hey, we need to get rid of this guy, or hey, this guy's doing great, that it's awesome that the team has that ability, and it's awesome that that exists. And yeah, man, get with the fucking program, Quakes. What the fuck? And but again, the Sounders are lucky that the Seahawks are there, and they get to share back and forth. Actually, this fan council was trickled over to the Seahawks. Now the Seahawks have their own version of this fan council, and it's really, and I don't know. I thought it was a great idea, and it's pretty fucking cool. And so that was a good way that the ownership engages the supporters group, and something that I think at the moment, being a Quakes fan, that really hits home, and hopefully something like that is in the works for the Earthquakes. But yeah, I mean, again, that's the current Seattle Sounders right there. I mean, I did want to bring the ownership group: Adrian Hanauer, Joe Roth, Paul Allen, Drew Carey. Um, they dudes have been doing it. You know, Hanauer. I think he's been doing it for. He's been there for a while. It's these guys that are really invested in the team. They really care about the team, and you could see with the investment that they've put in. And again, damn, this team gets so much fucking money. The current coach is Brian Smetzer. They had Siggy Schmidt since they came into the league in 2009, and you know he had that resume, and he did well. But the one thing that he could not deliver in Schmidt in his time in Seattle was a championship. 4 U.S. Open Cup championships, no CONCACAF championships, which makes fucking sense because there's been only two American teams, or two MLS, well, yeah, American teams, that have ever won CONCACAF championship. And so that's a tough one right there. So anyway, so Schmetzer is now coaching Seattle. Dude's been there also forever since they were in USL. He came up with them. He looked like the coach that was gonna be their first coach ever. Then Schmidt came in, that makes sense. I mean, the dude had the pedigree, the dude had the name. So he waited. He bid his time, and his opportunity came, and the team seems to have reacted. Well, they're in the fucking final. They're in the fucking final. So yeah, that seems to be done well. So yeah, and their rival, of course, regional rivalries are such a big thing in the United States, is Portland. The Quakes do have a little Heritage Cup type thing that they do with Seattle, and again, I'm not a big fan of them. They're again they're the big hit on the block. Is that what you want? So I mean, it's a natural person that to dislike as a Quakes fan. Again, I don't like just don't like them. It's definitely not like Galaxy, because fuck Galaxy. Well, there's no Dodgers. Fuck them. But anyway, and it's cool. But this team goes way back. This team goes all the way back to 1974, the first attempt. You know, when this country first tried to make a big soccer league, the NASL, and it didn't work. Didn't work. This team went down in 1983. They folded with the rest of the fucking league. They were dormant again until 94. 94 they came back up, and they have been in the second division this whole time. And they finally made that leap in 2009. And yeah, I mean, this is a team with a fucking storied fucking history. They had four championships when they did play in that second division in USL. They had 4 championships and 3 Commissioner's Cup, which is like the Supporter Shield in MLS. Team that finished with the best record in in the regular season. So this team is fucking, dude. Hate them or love them. They have a good history. They have a good history, and they should definitely be respected. And if they win on Saturday, it'll be their first MLS Cup, and it will just add to their list of trophies. And and you know this, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm personally rooting for Toronto. We'll have to draw Toronto right there in a couple days. But anyway, that was my history of Seattle. I hope you liked it. And yeah, Art Baldini 10, let me know what you think. Tell me what fucking bullshit I said. I don't know. I did research. I'm not a fucking journalist, though. I'm not going to fucking dig 28 layers. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on a couple days with the fucking history of Toronto. Laters.